Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on guitar tone. So today we are going to be talking about how to dial in our guitar amps to get a little bit of a bluesy tone. Let's go ahead and jump into a closer look at the amp. So I have my amp here set up for a blues tone. If you watched my last video, getting the reverb to an appropriate place, and volume, like I said, is not really super important overall, but can help a little bit, and then our gain. So I'm just going to kind of talk about where I went from the rock tone to get to the blues tone. So rock, we were a little higher on the gain and a little higher on the reverb. I didn't touch low, mid, or high because I'm not trying to copy any one specific person's kind of tone when I do this. But what I'm actually doing is just kind of keeping these where I like them because that's how I feel like it sounds really good with my guitar. So I keep those the same, and my volume again is at the the level that I feel is comfortable where I am to play at. So from here I had my rock tone, got a little bit of grit to it, a little heavy for blues. Blues is going to be a little less grit and a little more cleanness. Blues to me, and this is kind of a preference thing, but typically a blues guitar will have just a little crunch to it, but not a whole lot of gain. So what I wanted to do was take down my gain just a little bit. So go down to, I would say about 9 o'clock, let's say. And I'm going to try just a E chord. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Not a whole lot of grit there. Reverb-wise, blues usually doesn't have very much reverb in it, in my experience, or at least my playing style of blues. So I'm going to knock that down a little bit, say 6 or 7 o'clock roughly. Okay, so a little bit drier tone. Okay, I still have a little bit of reverb, but not a whole lot. Now, if I want to play through like a 12-bar blues, just to kind of give an example, that sounds very clean. It's actually too clean for me. So right there, there's not enough gain, so I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. Okay, so there is our crunch tone. You hear a little bit of breakup in the notes, and a chord is very distinct. You can still hear every single note in that chord, but when I give it a little harder picking motion, I'm going to get that grit that I'm looking for. Yep. So that all sounds pretty good. Now, if you missed it in the last video, I'll do kind of a quick recap of all the knobs to give you an idea of what we did last time, so that if you're just jumping into the blues tone, you can definitely go for it. So reverb gives you kind of like the ambience of the room or the feedback of the room. The higher the reverb, the more it sounds like you're maybe in a cave or a big like concert hall. Volume is going to be how loud your instrument comes through the amplifier. Sometimes volume and gain will play off of each other. The higher the volume, kind of the more gain, but it really depends on your amp and how it's set up. Mine specifically, if the gain is all the way down and I leave the volume alone, it's still pretty close to the same room sound that I would get just having my volume stay put instead of adjusting. So I kind of leave that alone. Low, mid, and high are all part of an EQ. So EQ is an adjustment to tell us how much of a certain frequency we want to hear in our tone. So for me, I like my lows pretty high, and I like my mids to be almost in the middle, but a little higher. I like to hear my mids cut through, but I don't like my highs to be very piercing. To me, I find it very just uncomfortable to listen to. So what I've done is I've taken my highs, knocked it back just a little bit, boosted my mids a little bit, and then put my low a little bit higher. So play with those till you get a setting that you like, and then move forward with adjusting your gain and your volume to get that kind of bluesy tone. Remember, your gain might also be named drive, and you might have to push a button or flip a switch to get it to the dirty or the drive channel. So thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope the lesson was helpful, and I'll see you next time.